Mr. Biea, and then Mariana.
Hi, could you tell me what you've learned about communicating with the public?
Oh, that's one of my favorite topics. So I cannot tell you how many curses and negative remarks and comments we've received during the period when we had to introduce controlled disconnections of customers across the country. Um, there are two concepts that we tried during when I say we, I'm not saying Ukrenergo, but the country, Ukraine, tried during this full-scale invasion. One concept is based on the assumption that if you disclose some information, even general information about the attack, you are disclosing it to the enemy publicly, and the enemy can use it to plan future attacks. Based on this concept, you need to stay silent and you cannot comment anything or almost anything which concerns the operation of the power system. The second concept looks at the broader picture. So morale of the troops, but also of the population during wartime is crucial. The enemy will try to provide a misinformation through different media channels, including Telegram, social networks, and the enemy will start organized media campaign by telling to a broad public things that would make your life harder. For example, Russians, when disconnection started and we were bombed in 2022, Russians launched campaign saying to different types of different layers of population that we were exporting energy at the time. So they were basically saying that, look, your authorities, they lie to you that they have deficit of power in the system because they're exporting to Europe, they are making money while you are without power. And this campaign was so successful that even now in 2025, 15-20% of Ukrainians believe that power disconnections occurred not because of Russian shelling, but because somebody was selling energy to Europe, energy that belonged to Ukrainians. So according to this concept, you need to communicate what's happening, and you need to fill in the space with your narrative, which is true. Otherwise, you will deal with Russian narrative, which will decrease morale of the society, decrease morale of the troops, spoil the reputation of energy sector workers, so many things. And the result of second strategy or second concept is that you need to communicate a lot. And we did it in the beginning of this campaign, we did it. And we were actually quite successful in that. So we explained to the public that, look, Odessa is without lights or Kiev is without electricity because Russians damaged few substations around it. So we cannot push the power through the network. So you can have lights on in Western Ukraine, but unfortunately we cannot deliver it to Kiev, and we need some time to fix things. And it was successful. But then, unfortunately, our ministry switched to the first concept when we do not say anything. We are just silent. And it resulted in a huge spike of disinformation and Russian propaganda. And you know what? Russians know exactly what is happening with the power stations that they are shelling, because they use satellites to make space photographs of the objects, so they know what's happening. And when you say that, for example, today the enemy shelled a big thermal power plant in the west, and that's why we have a deficit of power in the system, you're not helping Russians. Russians already know that. They know what they shelled. So in terms of communication, it is critical to be very clear and very proactive in explaining things to people, because otherwise you will be hearing Russian propaganda in your media space.